Hello, welcome to our movie class. Today we will speak about Lady, My Fair Lady, and languages. I hope English languages, English language in particular. So let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about the story of the movie, line by line. Let's try to be a narrator. Vasants, can you start?
Yes, this story is about a lady who lives in a slum, a lower level uh, area, and her pronunciation of English was not good, and she mispronounced a lot of words, and uh, she uses a lot of profanity. I think some bad words. I think, and one day. The Professor Higgins, right? Higgins saw her and decided to teach her uh, the good manner and good pronunciation. Uh, so, so he did that with with the help of his friend. I mean, it's not a help; it's a bet between them. So they bet on her about her improvement, and finally Higgins won. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And
So let's continue. Jürgen, would you like to continue about the story?
Uh, I don't. I don't know. What?
Okay, not a problem. Diana, maybe you? Would you like to continue, describe the story? What happened next?
Okay, so what happened next? So Eliza turned out in a house of Professor Higgins. Yeah, so he took her in. So what he's trying to do is not only to tell her and to teach her how to speak, but also to teach her some manners, right, as well. Because the bet was to take her to the I don't know, to some event where the Queen of Transylvania was present or something like that. So and the bet was about able to present herself in the best possible way, right? So if nobody will understand that she is the girl from the lower class. So and then those torture starts when poor Eliza cannot pronounce the sounds properly and she has to pronounce all those sounds. So they start with phonetics. So well, after a while, there was something happens. Actually, I think that as soon as Professor Higgins gave her some motivation, she realized why she needs to do that. And after that, she managed, and she started learning with, with ease. Okay, it comes to her, kind of. So, and after that, she started learning with the rapid pace and easier. So actually, the first, then the first event happened, and it was the race, right? So she appeared at the race, and her language was quite, I mean, the pronunciation was quite refined, but the language itself was not proper. There were some very interesting talk and some interesting words she used during that race.
So you found that story inappropriate, right?
Which story? About the aunt who died of influenza. Yeah. I think it was nothing inappropriate in dying of influenza, but the explanation was quite fascinating. But actually, it
Okay.
worked for some poor guy who fell for her after that story. So,
Okay, okay.
on some level, she succeeded, actually.
Okay, thank you. Lessons, and won't happen then.
And so later, how do we call the ego between them came there, and she left him after that, and and Higgins felt the silence, the absence of her presence. So, and eventually they met and had some quarrel. And finally, at his home, he realized that he really needs her, and then luckily she came back to his home.
Mhm. Good. So it's a happy end. Can we agree? Okay. Anything else?
Did the ending make sense? Did it explain why she came back? I was actually surprised when she came back because he didn't really change his attitude.
Maybe she realized something. Maybe she don't want to be a floral girl anymore.
Well, she just fell in love with him. That's the only reason. Because he, Professor Higgins, is kind of a,
Jerk.
well, I cannot. Yeah. Well, a big one, I would say. He treats her badly from the very beginning. He doesn't treat her like a human being, like a human with feelings or anything like that. She talks talk down. Yeah, can I say this? Talk down
Yep.
to her. Oh, okay, all the time. And well, he's impossible. I would kill him, from the very beginning.
But that's what I mean. He didn't really start treating her better, but yet she still came back. So I was kind of disappointed that they didn't really explain what her thinking was and why she said, well, okay, he's a big jerk, but I'll go back,
But we have a word for that. It's a Stockholm syndrome, right?
Yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm.
Jorgen, what is that? Do you know what is Stockholm syndrome?
You should know that, Jorgen. No? Oh my goodness.
Stockholm syndrome. I have heard. No, I don't know.
It sounds familiar. Somehow it is familiar. Yeah.
Vasan, do you know? Vasan? Can you explain us, please? What is that?
Yeah. Yes. Stockholm syndrome is a feeling that if someone kidnaps you and held you for a while with them, and eventually you will start to feel good about them, like, okay, they are good beings, like that. So that's called the Stockholm syndrome.
So suddenly you have some feelings to your torturer, right? Something like that. It's some defect of our human psycho, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a fact that it happens often, right? Well, do we miss some facts about movie, some lines or not? Almost all, right? So okay, let's do some questions. And a good segue to it's a Jorgen question. Let me find it. Do you think it's right to behave in the same manner to all human souls? I think we can rephrase it somehow, right? Do you think it's a proper behavior to any human soul, I would say? And I think it's about Mr. Higgins' behavior, right? Can you answer, Jorgen? What do you think? Is it a proper way?
I think it's yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Well, from my point of view, of course, it's I can say, of course, from my point of view, it's a strange behavior. But I have experience like that, some people are good teachers in your life, and some of them don't have a good manners. It happened. So once I realized that I know many perfect, mild, and mannered people, but they don't teach me a lot. And the people who taught me a lot, not so pleasant. I don't know how it's interrelated. I don't know, but it's a fact of my life, teacherly.
I was just going to say, Jorgen, we're not talking here about treating everyone fairly necessarily. We're talking about treating everyone the same,
Okay.
period.
Mm.
A queen, a lady, a bum on the street, you treat them all the same. I think that's what the question is asking. Not
Yeah.
treating everyone fairly, but treating everyone in the same brusque, impolite manner or whatever, I think was what
Mm.
Vasant was getting at. Do you think that's a proper way to behave for Higgins?
But
Yeah.
it's an interesting point, I think. For instance, what do you think? Who is the better person? The one who is rude to everyone, or the one who is rude to only a few type of characters? Yeah.
You know, I think that you should also take into account the time when this, thing is happening. Did you notice the how to call those women who were marching? Suffragists. How to call them properly?
Yes.
Suffragettes.
Suffragettes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the time when women in Britain had no rights at all. Women could not vote. Women could not, so they were lower than men, And actually, Higgins over there, as well as very nice friend of his, Pickering, yes, he's kind of nicer, but still he is, he treats women as a lower class over there. Just remember how he talks to Mrs. Pierce. Yeah, so yeah, she's a servant, but still he is, he's asking her to do something, and then he forgets about it, and it doesn't matter. He does not even say sorry because, well, it does not happen to him that he should say sorry. So women were a lower class over there. So, and such a woman as Eliza was just nothing to them. And they behave accordingly. So they don't even understand. Actually, Higgins does not understand why she's crying. So the thing has feelings, he says. The thing is nervous. So he's not, at the very beginning, he's not talking to her as a woman, a girl, or whatever. Like this thing or this something, I don't know. So
he just
and
a victim.
most men,
He's just a victim of that epoch, right?
No, he's not a victim. He is a jerk, as Teacher Lee rightfully said. Yes, but he also, of course, a product of a society as well.
So can we call him as a misogynist? How we call it?
Absolutely, a misogynist. That's right.
Misogynist. But why? Usually.
He was a jerk, but the difference is he was a competent jerk. He knew he was good, and he acted like it. Some jerks are not really good, and they still act like they're good. So he was able to pull it off because he was a competent jerk, and he knew he was competent, so he just didn't suffer anyone that was less competent than him. So he was a little bit kind of, I won't say arrogant, but maybe aristocratic in his own way. But he knew that the real aristocrats, the high society people, acted competent, but they weren't really that competent. So he didn't have any respect for the aristocratic people, really. Mm-hmm. So his mother was always telling him, don't come to my parties because you don't respect my high society people. But that was because he felt he was more competent than they were. So why should he respect them more than he respected himself, So that's the way his personality was.
I see.
Oh.
So, but back to this misogyny. Where is the stress? Misogyny. Actually, help me again. Misogyny. So, it's risky to make some analogies here, but I will try. So, things always change in our society. Something new happen and some new rights. And let's imagine that I don't know, I'm not trying to compare, but just an example, that some pets gave extra rights, and it's illegal now to treat them like not equal. I don't know, some dogs, for instance. Does it mean that I don't know, misogyny to these dogs? Am I cruel to them, or it just society was different in the past? So my point is, I don't think that he just hates all the women. It's just he treats her just because it's a rules of society where he live. So I'm not right. Vasans, what do you think? You have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Teacher Lee, is this movie based on any book?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
It is based on Bernard. It is Bernard Shaw's play, Pygmalion, and this is a play, and it is based almost the same as this play.
Okay.
Pygmalion is a mythology story where a man makes a statue and falls in love with it. So he kind of makes her like a goddess, a lady, and he doesn't fall in love with her as a person, but he falls in love with his product.
Yeah.
What fine of a job he did. He fooled all of high society. So
can you explain us why they put fair in the title? What does it mean? My fair lady.
Beautiful. Beautiful lady. That's simple.
Just
British, yes, just proper English, as Professor Higgins said at the very beginning. So about Americans. So those guys never used English language. Yeah, they have never used English language, something like that. It was very funny. I was thinking about you, Teacher Lee.
But maybe he's right from his point of view,
Sure, absolutely. British were very snobbish, They thought about America as their colonies still, long after the War for Independence, right, or the Civil War, or Yes,
okay, but despite all that, just imagine that we have some Russian colony on Mars, and they speak, spoiled Russian. It will happen because languages are alive and they spoil some Russian. We will say the same, right? That they never speak proper Russian, so I cannot blame British for that. Teacher Lee?
There was a funny song in the movie where Higgins was singing about language and speaking proper English.
Yeah.
And he was saying, why can't the English learn how to speak English correctly? Referring to her Cockney accent, her horrible English.
Right.
And then at the end he said, and the Americans are still trying to learn how to speak. So he made fun of American English by saying they still don't know how to speak.
But the movie itself quite not politically correct, I think. A lot of jokes.
But this is British. British are usually not politically correct, I would say.
From the same song, the French don't care what they do, but they care how it's named. Something like that.
Right. How it is pronounced or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Use proper English and you are regarded as a freak, he said. Yeah, that was funny.
Okay. There was something in this song about India, but I forgot. Vasans, can you remember?
They said something about Indian dialects. They mentioned many times.
Yeah.
Thousands of dialects.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. Why professor said that English is the language of the Bible? It's from the same.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think? It's just a honor of Englishman. Or what?
No, I think that he told that because I'm sorry, Teacher Lee. Yeah, you can.
I was just going to say the original, the Bible's written in two forms of English.
Uh-huh.
Normal conversational English for Trump's people, and what we call the King James
Yes.
version of the Bible, which is very elegant, lofty English.
Mhm.
So maybe he meant speaking using that lofty Bible English.
That's right. Yes.
You know, thou shalt not do this, and woe unto those who do this. Very flowery, elegant English. Maybe it's what he meant by Bible English.
But also, it was a kind of a modern, like the first modern version of the Bible. You know, it was flowery and lofty, but still it was like the modern, the up-to-date kind of Bible when all the folks could understand, even with this language. So that's why he said that this is the language of the Bible.
Okay.
Well, I did not know that, but it sounds strange. I was thinking that Bible was written, a way before English was born.
Correct. It was written in Hebrew, I think.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. The Bible wasn't written in English, so I think he's referring to the version of the Bible where the English translation uses really nice English, not ordinary conversation English.
I see. Okay, another question. Is it common to have too many songs in your country's cinema? Let's ask Indian man. What's up? Is it common?
You've chosen the right man for that. A lot of dancing, but what's up?
Yes, in the beginning of the Indian cinema, we had a lot of, actually not a lot of songs. The whole movie the whole story was told by singing songs. So, and gradually it evolved, and now we have at least minimum 5 songs. And
You have the minimum. Yeah, great. I like it. Cool.
Well, but I can say that in our old movies, in our Soviet movies, songs were very important. We always have them. It's impossible to find a movie without a song. I think it's my opinion. Then it changed by I don't know when exactly. Diana, what do you think?
I don't think it's the same. Yeah, there were songs, but in musicals, musicals are kind of based on songs, and the songs they have the meaning. This is like they continue the story. They have they tell the story. Yeah, they just give you some details or something like that. In many movies, you just have a song, like a separate song, which cannot add anything to the story except just a nice picture or a break from the story. So this is a musical. So music is like an integral part. So a little bit different genre, I think, like the separate genre in a movie.
And speaking about the musical part or musical gist of that movie, I like it because I think it's pretty well done. It has a common topic, common theme for all this music, and I like that they singing is understandable. Usually I don't understand what they sing about, but in this particular case I can listen to it, I can understand it, and it has a lot of humor inside, Why cannot
very nice.
Why cannot woman be like a man? I like that.
That's a beautiful song.
teacher please.
As Diana was saying, a musical is a special genre of movie. And it deliberately has many songs throughout the movie that actually blend into the plot. And they're relevant. The song content or message is relevant to that scene in the movie. In the beginning, he's listening to Eliza speak horrible English, and he's so fascinated by how bad it is, he's encoding the sounds so he can reproduce it later. And he sings all of a sudden about English and how the British can't speak English correctly. And so he's singing, the song is about that moment in the movie and adds context.
Yeah.
When he's asking Pickering, why do women behave so strangely? The song he sings expands on that idea. Why can't a woman be more like a man? So a musical uses songs in a different way than you know, a movie that they go to a dinner theater and they hear a song and then they go out and shoot people, you know. It's a different type of music.
Well, I agree, but when I mean Soviet movies, they try to do the same. Even not in a musical movie, they try to insert a song when it has some meaning, when it has some meaning to the story. You know,
but the characters just are singing, not on a stage, but just in the conversation.
Characters just can sing in dialogue. You know, it can be dialogue in form of sign for you. Sign.
That's strange to me. Okay, we don't do that in American movies.
Jorgen, please.
You call the music classical music, I think.
No, classical music's different. That's Beethoven and Bach.
Yeah, but it almost like.
Sounds like.
It was high quality anyway. I like the music.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of opera style a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Music's kind of opera style, loud and flowery and. Yeah. But Sound of Music is a musical.
Yeah.
The kids say, we don't know how to sing. Well, let me see how I can teach you how to sing. Do, re, mi. And she teaches them how to sing in a song.
That's right.
It was relevant to the plot situation. Yeah.
Vasants?
Yes, at my 10th grade, I had the same story as a lesson in my English lesson. So we had to memorize an essay. So I still remember the names, Eliza and Pickering, William Pickering and Higgins, everyone. So.
Okay.
So you already knew this story, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it was a totally new story for me. I never read or watched something like that. This story, I mean. Okay, so what is the moral of the movie? If any. Jorgen, did you get some moral from the movie? Or just entertainment?
Why can't women be like men? No.
It's risky.
The moral of the story for me is there are no such thing as a convinced bachelor.
Convinced?
Bachelor. There is no such thing. Yeah. So every convinced bachelor does not find a proper woman or a proper project. I don't know.
But you know, it's a risky claim. If you how to say it, negate it and say it, you know, then I don't know, should we do that? But every lesbian woman, you know, just has not met her man yet.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the moral of the story is don't take things for granted. Do you know what that means?
We tried to practice it yesterday, but let's do it today.
Okay. I'll let Diana or one of you guys try to explain it. What was taken for granted?
Let me try.
What was taken for granted? Okay.
What was taken for granted in this movie?
What in this particular case, you mean?
Yes.
It's another question.
Yeah.
Any guesses? Jorgen, Vasant?
Well, what I can think about that that Eliza actually always referring to her gender, to her genders. She said, "You cannot treat me because I'm lady like that," something like this. So she takes as granted that people should treat her in particular way. What can I think
she's
about?
fighting all the time. She's fighting for him, she's fighting him. She is asking him, yelling at him, and every time she thinks that he's treating her not properly, she's trying to fight him at the very beginning, but then later when she's learning, she accepts this role of him as a teacher and her as a student, when she's obedient and so on and so forth. But I don't think that she's taking this behavior for granted. No.
No, different. I was trying to say different. She did not take as granted his behavior. He take it for granted that because she's a woman, she said she has some idea how people should treat her, something like that.
Okay.
The key is Higgins was taking Eliza for granted. He's treating her like a thing, a tool, a bet, an experiment. She'll do what I tell her, and she'll obey, and she'll win, and then she'll go away. She's not important. She's just a tool I'm using. Well, she didn't appreciate the tool that was used and thrown away. So he was taking her for granted that she would always do what he wanted whenever he wanted it. Bring me my paper. Bring me my slippers. Put this on my schedule. Remind me of this appointment. He expected her to do all of this for him, but he didn't value her. So he assumed she would always be there to obey him and help him, but he didn't think about if she was gone, what pain or value would he lose? So he took her for granted, and she didn't like that. So when he won the bet and everyone was patting everybody on the back, but she got no praise, that's when she got really her contribution. She did all the work, and yet Pickering and Higgins were congratulating each other like they did all the work.
I see.
So she was not appreciated. So she was taken for granted, and that's why she left at the end.
But can't it be better to say that her effort was taken as granted or something like that? Can we say she was?
Usually we say the person.
Okay. Jürgen.
Women, wives feel taken for granted sometimes, so be careful.
Yep.
Jürgen, please. Question?
I think it was she made the work as well, and he wanted to make her a real woman, and he succeeded, and but he never expect to fall in love with her. I don't know, something like that.
Okay. Well, good moral, I think. Anything else? Do we agree with that, Diana?
Well, yeah, I do. That's fine. So I was just thinking about how thick he was. I mean, he couldn't think a couple of steps ahead. And when I don't quite agree that he wanted to throw her away. He didn't think about that. So the only thing he was thinking about was winning the bet. And after that, he didn't even think what will happen to her. And a very sad moment in the movie was when she was looking, coming back. She wanted to come back, and she found out, she knew it already, she's clever. She knew it already that she has no place in her, former life. And when she was speaking with people whom she knew before, they didn't they couldn't recognize her because she was absolutely different. So she reminded them of one girl, but they could not recognize her. So she realized, well, she knew it already, but she once again she proved it to herself that she will not find the place in her past life. So, and then she actually made the only choice, I think, the right choice, to come to his mother, you know, to complain to his mother. Yeah, and because she could not come back, you know. And he ruined another life, yes, the life of her poor father, who was so happy.
What happened with him? What happened with the father, with her father?
No, I don't know, but he went to some luxurious life, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what happened with the dealing between the father and Higgins.
Mm-hmm. Jürgen, maybe you know what happened to her father. What was the deal between Pickering and father? Elizabeth's father.
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't catch it fully, but I think that Pickering just bought a girl from her father, just paid some big money, like 5 million or something like that.
No,
$5.
5 pounds. 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
Yes, it was just 5 pounds, and he didn't buy anything. He gave him money because he enjoyed his talk. He had a kind of a interesting logic in his talk, and you know, speaking with him, listening to him was quite entertaining for Higgins. That's why he gave him money, not to buy the girl or something like that. So, and what he did was he wrote, some millionaire from America, I think, I don't remember from where, wrote to him a couple of times and asked him to come and give some kind of lectures or something like that, like a moral thing. And he didn't pay attention to those letters of that millionaire. But then when he met the father, and he realized how entertaining his talk was, how many moralist ideas there were in his talk. He asked Mrs. Pierce, his servant, to write back to that millionaire and say that the best moralist in the whole London is this Dustman. Is it a Dustman? Or so that he was like the best moralist, and should invite him to give those lectures. So, and apparently this millionaire did so, and he died, and somehow all his money, yeah, somehow that Mr. Doolittle inherited all his money. He became a rich person. So, and he had to marry that woman whom he dated for a long time because she wanted to be a respectable woman. Maybe
that is the moral, you know, of the movie.
Yeah.
you just
he was really unhappy about that, you know, about marrying and having those money, because that was a burden for him. He was so free, carefree, you know, before that, and now he had a lot of responsibilities. So that was a burden for him to have all those money. So he was so nice with just little couple of coins, you know, and free beer. Happy man.
Actually, please.
So it's an irony, and it's just what Diana said. When he was a bum and poor, he begged off of other people.
Right.
But when he became rich, everyone else was begging off of him. So it's
not so pleasant.
Reversal. It was a role reversal, and he didn't like it. Instead of being responsibility free, now he was the guy that giving money to other people. So he was a miserable as a modern man, or what, a decent man.
Yeah.
Is it easy for you to feel sympathy for him?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's mine.
But I think it's another moral of the movie. You know, we can say that it's good to be in right place and time, because one event changed life father and Alice and her father. She became a lady.
Another moral is be careful with what you wish for. Sometimes your wishes, the outcomes are not what you expected, you know. So the outcome of being rich is not so good.
Another thing that's interesting, though, is that Doolittle was an honest man.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want 10 pounds. I don't want 50 pounds. 5 pounds is enough. I don't want too much.
Right.
Because then you know, it's going to cause troubles. Money is the root of all evil. I just want enough. So he was honest that way. And I think, as Deanna said, that's why Higgins was fascinated by him, because he wasn't really greedy. He just wanted his fair share.
And he never pretended to be respectable. He said, yes, I'm unworthy. He said, yes, I know that, but there are poor widows who have like 5 charities, you know, to take money from. 5 charities a week. And I am also unworthy, and I don't have any charities to take money from. Yeah, that was funny. I like that man.
Let me answer Jorgen. The question is, what is the pun name? So pun is a kind of joke, kind of, I don't know.
So her father's name was Doolittle.
Which means do little, doing nothing.
He was a bum. Yeah. He wanted to do as little as possible. It may be coincidence, but maybe that's why they called him Doolittle. It is a British name.
Yeah.
And we have only 2 questions. Do you have special language for high society, and are our manners and language interrelated? It's mostly about this scene from the movie, scene of horse races, when, you know, she spoke a proper language, but she found that they found that she is from another, how we call it, another layer of society. So do you have the same in your language just now? Can you recognize that this particular man from another layer just because how he's speaking? The sounds?
Most of the high-level society people use the English words, even though they are speaking my mother tongue. It's a privilege. It's a pride using the English words between their speakings or something, and also the not using the vulgar words. It's also important, and you know, we have a lot of how do we call the native different kind of pronunciation. How do we call? Do we have any term for that?
Dialects.
Yeah, dialect, right? Yes, a single language can have many dialects, right?
Yeah.
Maybe accent, maybe accent, dialect.
Yeah, accent. Yes,
and accents and dialects as well.
Yes, they can easily find which part you are coming from, which part of Tamil Nadu you are coming from by your accent.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to hide your accent and speaking in a good language.
And you use a good word, vulgar, which from it's a Latin word, and mean just low society, not low society, just how
curse words probably, no?
But in Latin it's mean not curse, it's Latin mean common, or for
common people, yes.
Common people, something like this, yes. So,
but now it have different meaning. So that there was a process, yeah. So vulgar now means different. So vulgar in Latin times, you know, had a different meaning. So, yeah.
But it was interesting that Vasan says that high society people try to avoid vulgar words, and it's interesting because, you know, it's a way to distinguish themselves from common people. Okay. Yeah. So, Jorgen, do high society in Sweden have a special language? Do you have high society?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
They have like the king's language or the royal language.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, in Stockholm.
Mm-hmm.
So you can distinguish them by language, by a simple conversation, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Do we have the same, Diana? I'm trying to think about it.
Yes, I think so. I think so. So here, in Ukrainian language, you can hear if it is pure, language with proper like literature type of language, without okay, like some dialectisms, some different. So of course dialects are there as well. So, but also there is this mixture, like Russian Ukrainian mix. And it is kind of, it shows that the person is uneducated, so you can when you hear that, you can understand that the person is not well educated. So yeah, you can distinguish
Okay.
higher class and lower class, so to say.
Okay, and can you see my screen share, anyone?
Just your face.
No.
Well, it's broken again. Teacher Lee, can you save us?
Okay, let me see.
You can send a link if you need it.
Screen share. Let's do this. Let me try to screen share.
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, and let me go to the movie club slide presentation. Stand by. I guess I got to double click on it. Hello. Oh, there, okay. I'll get there in a minute. Okay. Bring this over here and present. Okay, this is just the title slide, the movie actresses, the stars. This is Higgins, of course, and an Academy Award. The movie was well received. Audrey Hepburn is a famous actress, dead now, I think. This is when she was, sometimes we call them bag ladies. A bag lady is a poor woman on the street. She carries everything she owns in a paper bag. We call her a bag lady. She's a bum, okay? So he took a bag lady and made her a high-class lady.
Okay, let's start from this one. A lot of things. Vasant, can you find something interesting?
It looks like a grand open place, and there are baskets, and the people are working in the market. People are pulling carts with the goods and carrying fruit, flowers, carrying baskets, and a lot of some archways, and yeah, I think.
So what is a crate?
That's
It's like kind of box, right? Crate.
A wooden box.
Wooden box.
Fruits, usually fruits and vegetables, things that are kind of heavy, usually are in a wooden crate.
So it should have some slots, right, or not?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So air can keep them from getting rotten. Yeah. The hand truck is a two-wheel stand that you can lean and put stuff on it and push it on two wheels. We call that a hand truck. I can use that to move a refrigerator. I can put a hand truck under it, lean the refrigerator on the hand truck, and roll it. So a very common term.
Vasant?
Yes, teacher, we had a class about a fairy tale about two friends, right? So yeah, one man is deceiving the another one by, okay, I'm going to give you my the hand truck, right? Is that the same thing? That's the same vehicle?
That was a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, it was a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, wheelbarrow.
That was a wheelbarrow. That was different. That was Piano Story, right?
Yeah, the loyal friend.
Yeah.
I don't see a wheelbarrow. Probably
We'll
the
see
man.
one.
I think the men here, so they have wheelbarrow, something with the wheels here.
We'll see a wheelbarrow later.
Yeah. Okay.
There's one coming.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to the next one then.
Okay. A cart has 2 wheels or 4 wheels, but a cart is pulled.
Yeah.
A hand truck is usually pushed. Okay.
Mhm.
Jorgen, please.
Okay. Can't say so much. I don't know what these things are. These things are.
Okay. A horse
A horse mane, yeah.
is controlled by a person, right? The way we control a horse is we put a bridle on their head, and it has a metal bar in their mouth. So when you pull back on that, on the reins pull on the bridle. So when you pull the reins back, you pull on the bridle, which pulls a metal bar in the horse's mouth, which is slightly painful or uncomfortable for him. So when you pull back on the reins, the horse will stop moving forward to ease that discomfort on his mouth. So we use the reins and the bridle to control the horse. So we have an idiom to hold the reins. When you hold the reins, you're in control. Okay. The yoke is a big thing around his neck that the harness is tied to, so that ties him to the wagon so he can't just run away. So yoke, reins, and bridle are the mechanisms we use to control a horse and make him obey and pull a wagon.
Mm-hmm. Kind of obsolete, right?
No, not obsolete. We still use these today.
I mean, in general, horse-drawn wagons. I not often see them.
If someone treats you like a slave, sometimes we say you have a yoke around your neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yoke of oppression. In Turkey, maybe there's a yoke of oppression around free people's necks because he's trying to control everything they do and say.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Nice
and the
one.
mane is the long hair.
Yeah.
We say a horse has a mane and a male lion has a mane.
And behind this man, behind this coachman, what we can see, what is that? Some crate or not?
It looks
Crane?
like that's the actual wagon. The wagon has 4 wooden walls, or maybe 3 wooden walls, and it looks like he's got shelves of flowers in there. So he's pulling a wagon of flowers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or the horse is anyway. Okay.
Okay.
So the bridle of oppression, the yoke of oppression, we use these to explain when people are kind of being treated like slaves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Unbridled means out of control or wild. Unbridled passion on a wedding night. Okay.
So horse's mane is usually gorgeous, right? Big one. We use some idiom in Russian about this hair, like they're how to say, they're thin, thick, they're solid, something like that. So it has a positive connotation. No?
Right.
I guess so, yeah. I think some paintbrushes are made from horsehair.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's that hair or the body hair, I don't know. But paintbrushes are sometimes made of horsehair. Okay.
Mm.
I used to my parents tell me that it's from squirrel.
Okay. All right.
Diana, please.
We're about out of time, so let me just step through these quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to point out something that might be interesting for you. Nothing really interesting here. Cart, wagon, bags of grain, a horse-drawn carriage. Drawn here means pulled, a horse-pulled carriage. A gramophone is an old kind of sound amplifying device.
Mm-hmm.
Sink, faucets, towel racks, nothing interesting here. You can see the maid uniform Yvonne, which is why your school uniforms look funny to me. Here, the banister is the handrail on the stairs. There's a fireplace where you can burn wood. There's a hood over it so that smoke goes up the chimney. The shelf above a fireplace is called a mantle. So a shelf above a fireplace has a special name, the mantle. Beret is a kind of hat. Here's a wheelbarrow. This is a wheelbarrow. You pick it up with two hands. It has one wheel in front, two little feet in the back. So that's a wheelbarrow. You can see the horse's harness and yoke and bridle from side view. Shovel. There's a recording drum, a round thing that turns around for recording ink traces.
Yes,
it's fully operated. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We miss the fact that Professor was kind of a geek, a lot of devices, a lot of gadgets.
Yeah.
Okay, this drum is turned by what we call pulleys and pulley belts. So your cars use pulleys, car engines use pulleys and pulley belts. We call it a fan belt, but in your car you have fan belts in the engine, and if they break, things will stop working. The tuning fork is a metal thing. You tap it and it vibrates and makes a particular pitch or frequency of sound, and you can use that to tune musical instruments. These are just fancy high society people. Large hats are called bonnets for women. The one woman's wearing a black veil over her face. Sometimes brides in weddings wear a veil over the face. Tuxedos. She's got a feather in her hairpiece. Metal tiara is like a little crown, like a princess might wear a tiara. A sash is just a strip of cloth diagonal across your body or possibly wrapped around your waist. Butterfly collections on the wall. Some walls have the bottom half of the wall is wood and the top half of the wall is wallpaper. This bottom panel of wood has a special name. I doubt anyone knows that name, but when the lower half of the wall is wood, we call that wainscoting.
Wow.
So this is a wainscoted wall. Okay. He has an old style telephone. Another fireplace with a mantle. Now, beside a fireplace, if you burn wood, there will be some metal tools. These are called pokers or fire irons. They're used to push the burning wood and ashes back into the fireplace or to rearrange the wood so it burns better. Stained glass. Churches often have stained glass. The old doors had mail slots. You could just put the mail in through that slot. It would fall inside the house on the floor. This kind of a hat we call a fedora. This kind of a fence we call a wrought iron fence. Wrought iron is a kind of iron that can be molded or shaped easily.
Wrought iron is something made by hammer, isn't it?
It might be. I don't know how they make it, but it means it can be shaped easily. So usually we say a wrought iron fence. Okay, and that's all. So that's just a quick and dirty highlighted terms you might be interested in knowing. Okay.
Yes, thank you. And I will post it in our site's post, so we can see it later. But what is the reason to have those wainscoting? I cannot imagine.
Just decorative.
Okay, so it's just an art.
If you got small kids, it might prevent them from using crayons and marking on the wallpaper.
Well, they had those wainscoting, with red wood. So it was also like the upper class, so it was wooden. wooden
It's
panels, you
decorative
know.
and classy. It's classy.
Yeah.
Wow, you got wainscoting. Woo!
Okay, so our time is over. So thank you very much for coming here. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for this
thank
movie,
you.
Teacher Lee. It was a good
Thank you.
one. Pretty old, but
It's a very good one. Yes.
but very good. So your suggestions about new movies are welcome. And thank you again. And goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.